Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ISC2 New Jersey Chapter Podcast, Unencrypted Chatter. Today, we're recording a very special episode in person at ISC2 Security Congress 2024 in Las Vegas. My name is Aaron Krauss, and I'm joined by my co-host, Ken Fishkin, the ISC2 New Jersey Chapter President.
Hello, everyone. Very excited to be here.
Most importantly, we are thrilled to be joined for this quick episode by an amazing guest, Jay Ferron. Jay, welcome.
Thank you, guys. Haven't seen you in a while in person.
I know. We haven't seen a lot of folks in person.
Very happy.
That's one of the great things about Security Congress. We get to network and get to talk to folks.
It gives a networking talk. Virtual is great, but it's nice to shake hands and see each other.
It absolutely is.
Absolutely.
For those who don't know you, I wonder if you could share some of your backstory. What inspired you to pursue a career in cybersecurity? What got you in here?
I was a paramedic many years ago in the 70s in Miami and worked 24 on, 72 off, and then basically 6 days a month. Wow. Got involved with an Apple I, a raw processing power, 1.2 megahertz of speed, no floppy drive, no tape drive, no nothing, and started playing with computers. And then after some incidents in Florida, I got out of paramedics and started spending more and more time with computers. And through the genesis of it, I realized that there was a problem and that people were putting lots of information on systems and weren't thinking about security at all. And this is way before the whole concept of cybersecurity and your personal identity, etc. And I just felt this love of look what this technology can do and think about the risks of what it's going to do. When I started, we didn't have a smartphone. It was a briefcase with a telephone in it. Okay. And now you're walking around with, a phone. Well, my phone only has 128 or 512 of memory, and it's got 8 cores and, 2 displays, and I keep everything in my life on it. Back then I wasn't. And I had this vision of where the technology was going. And I said, you know what? It's a trip I want to go on. And it's been a love ever since.
It feels like a trip where you don't know the destination because it changes every, 3-5 years?
What are you talking about? Just think about where we're going to go right now. We all talk about AI and how many giraffes in the room are there? That's an inside joke for those of you who weren't at the conference. But the reality is, if you say to your kids today what a wall phone is and a rotary phone, they have no clue. And they don't know what life is without a cell phone. And they don't know what life is without a computer. And there are schools who aren't even teaching cursive writing. AI is going to be, what do you mean a calculator? I just ask and it gives me the answer. And unfortunately, then you have the problem of the kid at McDonald's when you give him $20.05 and he goes by and he doesn't know back a $5 bill. So as technology is changing and making our lives easier, sometimes I think it's making us dumber. I'll ask the question. Do you remember the phone number of your house?
Oh, yes, I do.
But you know what I'm saying?
Right. I do not remember important information anymore because I'm so dependent on
exactly. And if you lose it, God help you.
God help you.
Okay. And if you've got it, back up. Fine. There are people still with cell phones that don't have antivirus.
Yeah. Nobody has maps anymore.
Read a map? That's a skill. That's a skill. So for me, getting into cyber was all about seeing where it was going and then starting to understand that as it got easier to use the technology, the more riskier it got if you didn't think about what's doing. And I don't think there's anybody who's listened to the podcast who hasn't had either their identity stolen, ransomware, malware, or some other problem, their computer's possessed, and 99.9% of the time, they did it to themselves. They clicked on something, they did something they didn't think. No one's going to win the lottery in Europe, especially if you've never been there and bought a ticket. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way.
2012 Olympics, I had people clicking on phishing links to claim their free tickets, and I said, do you plan to fly to London? If not, why would you get tickets to the Olympics sent to your inbox?
When the post office is going to send you an email to tell you there's a problem with a package they're delivering to your house, where did they get the email from? And isn't that exactly opposite from their business model? So, yeah.
Well, on the topic of the conference, it sounds like AI was impactful. It sounds like there was a fun session. There were some good jokes. Any other tracks or things about the conference that have been beneficial?
I think one of the benefits of coming to a security conference, and there are lots of them, is you get to network with other people. You get to meet people face to face that you may have a virtual connection with. I do a lot of training, and I've had people walk up to me and say, I took your class or this and that. hey, can you answer this or talk about that? Or what are you doing? Oh, that's cool. Or what are you doing? Hey, I got this problem. Do you know anybody? Well, go over there and talk to this guy or go talk to that guy. That kind of networking, the trainings are great. The speakers are great, but just being able to sit down at a bar or sit somewhere and talk about problems and build this community is really important because no one knows it all. And anyone who says they know it all, run the other way.
A little imposter syndrome is healthy. Well, Ken, I know Jay's done a lot of work with the chapter. I wonder if you have any questions or anything you'd like to highlight in that regard.
So Jay has transformed our chapter, and it is really, I've been working with Jay for probably 3 years now, and we met when we were putting together a conference with all these other organizations that are local, ISSA, ISACA, where we all teamed together and put together one big conference. And Jay really liked what I was doing with our chapter, and he just offered. He's like, hey, how about I give you guys a CISSP full 4-day boot camp training for $100 when it normally costs $2,000? Who am I to say no? So the next thing I know, we made it mandatory that you had to be a member to take this $100 program, and we got 90 members that time. The first time we offered it,
to 120.
Right. It was just, and they were from all over the country. It was just like, so we just exploded, and then he did it again. And again, and then he went from he did the CISSP, and then he did the CC, the new certification. He also taught pen testing. He has taught so many different classes. He did digital forensics for us, and it was just amazing, and at a low cost or free. And most of it's free.
But
we were getting calls from ISC2.
Wait a minute, got to be a member of the chapter or a student.
Right.
But exactly. ISC2 called me up and said, Jay, how are you doing a CISSP course? And are you using our materials? I went, no, your materials are a little more expensive. So we're doing this as a study group and a study project. I've built my own materials. And I went, okay. But remember, they're all getting your certification. So you should be happy too. And they're like, okay, you can do that.
Yeah, so we really broke all their models in so many different ways.
But how many members we have now?
So now we went from 30 when we started, and now we have 670. And
3 new members we got this morning.
Yeah.
And in January, we'll do another CISSP and a couple of CCs.
People are asking already for when we're doing the next CISSP.
So we'll do a CISSP in January, then we'll do a CC. And I want to do a AI session maybe November, December.
Fantastic. I mean, it is really, this is, we have so many different components of this chapter, and this one is just, it changed the whole direction of the chapter.
You know what? I say this, and I said it at SetCon, and I'll say it again. For everybody listening, do me one favor. Give 1 hour of your time to your local community and think of the difference you can make. Yeah. We've got 630 plus members. Think of what could change overnight if you gave an hour of time. And there are people who are volunteering this chapter, and the chapter needs more help in all sorts of areas. So if you're interested, and you don't have to be in Jersey, please reach out and say, hey, I want to help.
Hey, you give that talk all the time. And I hope that, I know that we get people all the time that listen to it, and because they keep coming to me and asking, what can I do? So I want to thank you for reiterating that all the time.
And as a relatively new chapter member, thank you for giving way more than just 1 hour to help this little community grow to not so little a community.
There are chapters around the country I want to help around the world. We got to do it together.
Definitely.
Yes, definitely.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us for this episode. Good news, our podcast is now on most major platforms, including YouTube, Apple, and Spotify, so you can find us wherever you want to listen. It would be really helpful if you can subscribe and share the podcast, rate it, and please in the reviews let us know if there's anything that we can do to improve and help us reach a broader audience. There's lots more in store for Unencrypted Chatter, the podcast from ISC2 New Jersey. Thank you so much, Jay, for joining us. Thank you for all of your time today. Thanks to Ken, my co-host. And of course, our biggest thanks goes out to you, our listeners.